At first, I thought Rich Dad Poor Dad was just one more book with common advice about money. But instead, what I learned actually changed the way I look at money and taught me important lessons that will improve my financial situation. In this video, I bring you the 6 main lessons I learned, and hopefully by the end of the video, you will know how to improve your financial situation as well. Let's dive in. When we are young, our parents tell us to study hard so we can get a good job, have money, and be happy. And that's what we do. We grow up, get a fine job, find someone we love and marry. We buy a beautiful house and eventually we have our first child. That's when our expenses start to rise and what once was a good salary, it now seems short. We work harder so we can have a promotion and solve our money problems. But when we finally land that promotion, we start to think where we can spend it. Maybe we decide to buy a bigger house or to have a well-deserved vacation. Soon our expenses grow and our salary seems not enough again. We need more money. We want to be rich so we don't have financial problems. We work harder and harder, but no matter how many raises we get, our expenses are always growing as well, and it seems there is no way to get out of this. Robert calls it the rat race. Most people are in this situation. It doesn't matter if you earn $3,000 or $10,000 a month, because the more you earn, the more you spend. And that is explained by two emotions that drive many of our decisions: fear and greed. Fear is what keeps us working in a job we don't like. If we quit, we may not have enough money to pay our bills. What if I quit and I can't find another job that I like? Or worse, if I can't find another job at all? What if I don't save enough money to pay my kids' college? What if we can't pay the rent and we have to go to a smaller house? Fear is always there. On the other hand, greed is always around too. As soon as we get a raise or a bonus, we think on the new possibilities. Maybe we can change to a bigger house now, I can upgrade my car, or it is finally time to take that awesome vacations we wanted. Sometimes we don't even need a raise for that, we just spend what we don't have. It is natural to want more, to desire and have a better life, but this never-ending battle between fear and greed is what keeps most of us in a constant financial struggle. Most of us are in the rat race, and the first lesson is to be aware of it. In 1998, Gerald won $10 million in the lottery jackpot. He soon did what some of us would do, bought a huge mansion and lots of cool cars for him and his friends. A few years later, Gerald was out of money. One might think this was an exception, but unfortunately winning the lottery is more often a curse than a blessing. Reportedly, 70% of people who win the lottery end up with nothing in less than 5 years. The lottery ruined my life, he said. I would say that what ruined his life was lack of financial intelligence. We usually learn about money at home with our parents. We are taught that we need to study hard and find a safe job. We should save and we should get out of debt. Investing is risky, so we should look for safe options and diversify. We are taught to join the rat race. What Robert learned from his rich dad was completely different. He should study and work to learn. He should master different areas, for example accounting. It is boring but necessary. That his mind is his best asset, so he should always grow it with knowledge and new skills. Intelligence solves problems and produces money, but money without financial intelligence is money soon gone. That is what happens to most lottery ticket winners. The main lesson is learn to become financially intelligent. Understanding the flow of money is important, so let's see the differences between the poor, the middle class, and the rich. The poor receive their salary, pay their expenses, and don't have much left. The middle class spends most of their salary paying their liabilities, like their mortgage, their car, and credit debts. Then they pay their expenses and save what's left. The rich don't work for money, they have their income coming from their asset column. With that, they pay their liabilities, expenses, and they continue to build up their assets, increasing their income more and more. Most of us are in the middle class flow, and the main reason is that we focus first on getting liabilities instead of assets. Is a house an asset or a liability? Let's see the difference. When we buy our home, it is not an asset, it is a liability. A liability takes money out of our pocket. In contrast, if we had bought a house and rent it, then it would be an asset, because it would bring money into our pocket. Most of us focus on having more and more liabilities. We buy a house, we buy a car, we have kids, and our asset column remains empty. To get out of the rat race, it is important to focus on building our asset column first and have money flowing into our pocket. Robert makes an important distinction. If we have to trade our time for money, then it is not an asset. An asset brings money to our pocket without the need to be present, like dividends, royalties of a service or product, a self-running business, and so on. There are plenty of options, and we will talk more about that later. So, what is your business? I am a banker. Do you own a bank? No, I work in a bank. Well, then it's not your business. You work for someone else's business. For Robert, having a business doesn't mean to have a company. Any asset you have is your business. But most of us don't have any asset. Most of us work for someone else's business. The lesson number 3 is that you should focus on growing your business. Do you have stocks that pay you dividends? Do you have a small property that pays you rent monthly? You are now thinking, but I don't have money to invest in any of those. Well, there are hundreds of ways of getting passive income without a big, if any, investment. Content creation, writing a book, creating a Skillshare class, creating a new product or an app. The sky is the limit. All it requires is creativity, hard work, and continuous improvement. Focus first on creating a good asset column, and then you will have all the luxuries you want. In Portugal, almost 50% of a middle-class person's income goes to taxes. Taxes are the most expensive thing most of us will pay during life, and while it is a boring subject, it is one of the subjects a rich person needs to master. Taxes became legal long ago when the government suggested to tax the rich. As the majority was not rich, the law was approved. Funny enough, the rich have found ways to avoid being taxed so much. But as the government got used to the extra money, they started expanding taxes to the middle class, covering more and more people. In the end, the rich continue rich, but the middle class is paying the price. One of the best ways to avoid being taxed is through corporations. The rich pay their expenses and then they pay their taxes, while the poor and the middle class pay their taxes and then they pay their expenses. Let's see the difference. Imagine a scenario where both rich and middle class receive $10,000 a year. The rich has a corporation, so he can pay his expenses first and gets $5,000 left. Then he pays his taxes on what is left, bringing $3,000 home. The middle class works for someone else, so he has to pay his taxes first. He earns $6,000 after taxes, but still has to pay his expenses. In the end, there is only $1,000 left. With the same income, the rich bring home 3 times more than the middle class in this scenario. Taxes and the law work differently in different countries. The power resides in learning about it and using it in your favor. 2 friends met at a bar and ended up talking about their investments. The first one said he has bought $5,000 in the SP 500. He knows it is safe and although might fluctuate a little bit, he will earn around 10% a year. Diversity is key, he says. The second one said he bought a Bitcoin for $5,000. He loves the concept, studied about it, and didn't want to miss the opportunity to have one. The first friend called him dumb. Cryptos are risky and he may lose everything. 3 years later, the 2 friends met again. The first friend bragged about how his $5,000 are now worth $7,000. He's getting richer year after year and meanly asked about his friend's investments as he heard cryptos were going down strongly. The second friend said, "Wonderfully, the Bitcoin I bought for $5,000 was worth $50,000 last year, so I decided to sell it and I bought a small apartment to rent. Now I earn $1,000 every month without doing anything." This fake story is to illustrate that some people play to win while others play to not lose. If you want to protect your money from inflation, the SP 500 is great. But if you want to be rich, that strategy won't bring you there anytime soon. Risk is everywhere, but the more we know, the less risky it becomes. To get rich, you need to be brave more than to be smart. A great writer knows how to write great books. But to have a bestseller, he also needs to know about marketing and sales. A great nutritionist can be the best in his field. But to succeed as a content creator, he also needs to know about content creation and storytelling. A great developer can create the most amazing apps, but to get funded, he also needs to know how to pitch an idea. Society makes us believe that to succeed in life, we must be the best at a certain field. And while that may be true for some professions, most of us end up too specialized and instead of freedom, we are condemned. To succeed in such a competitive world, we must master different skills and not only one. It is like cooking a meal. You may have the best egg in the world and it will be great. But if you have a common egg, ham and cheese, you will have an omelette. When we master and put together different skills, we are able to cook something unique that may be great. Robert shares that he never stops learning. He reads a lot, he listens to audiobooks, he goes to seminars and attends specific courses. Learning is the key to success. Like Robert, I also read a lot and I work on the skills that I need to be a great YouTuber every day. This video took a lot of effort to make, so if you like it, consider subscribe and watch another one. Thank you for watching, see you on the next video. Money is difficult to earn, so it is natural that we want to keep it safe and protected. But putting all our money in a bank account has hidden risks that most of us are not aware. That is what Jack found out. When Jack was in college, he could buy many things with a $10 bill. He could buy 10 beers at the college party, he could buy 2 books from the store, or he could have a pizza and a soda for lunch. But 10 years later, with the same $10, Jack can only buy 5 beers, a simple book, or the cheapest pizza. Why is that? Why are things getting more expensive over the years? This is caused by something called inflation. Inflation happens when there is a general rise of prices, and because of that, the same amount of money cannot afford the same things. In America, the average inflation rate is around 2% a year. This means that every year most things rise their price a little bit. 2% might seem insignificant, but when that happens consistently over the years, it builds up and makes a huge difference. It is even worse when in some years there is a bigger inflation rate, like the one we are facing. This year inflation rate in the US is already more than 8%, which means that your $1,000 are still $1,000. But for each 1,000 beers you could buy last year, you can now only buy 920. Your money might be safe in the bank, but your purchasing power is not. What scared Jack was that he had $10,000 saved in his bank account. So this meant his purchasing power has been decreasing year after year after year. And if he doesn't do anything, it will continue. So what can Jack do to protect his money? Jack met with an old friend from college, Michael, and asked for advice. Michael said that the best way to protect from inflation is to have assets, things that can be traded or generate money. In other words, to invest. Jack quickly shared he knew nothing about investments and that he hated risk. He's the guy that is afraid to lose even $1. Michael then explained, investments have risk. But by having your money in a bank, aren't you already losing to inflation? Investments aren't something only for specialists or rich guys. It is something anyone should do because everyone is exposed to inflation and everyone should have the opportunity to increase their wealth. Besides, there are a couple of really simple strategies anyone can follow. Jack recognized it made sense. Let's go for it. When investing, usually the higher the risk, the higher the reward. Your goal is not to double your money in 1 year, but to protect it from inflation. So you will probably choose a low-risk strategy. You are looking for assets that consistently grow over time. You don't want to spend time researching for the next big thing, and you don't want to depend on luck. Having that in mind, here are a few good options. I will first show you what you can buy, and later I will show you how you can buy it. Gold has been an historical asset for many years. You can either buy physical gold or a share of it on a trading app. Its price regularly rises over the years, so it is a safe way to save our money. Company stocks, which means buying a piece of a company. You can either buy stocks from individual companies or you can buy a group of them, as I will show you next. Houses that can, for example, rent. To invest in a house, you usually need a good amount of money and you may even need a loan. But it can be one of the best investments, although it needs to be carefully planned. Cryptocurrencies, a riskier asset because of its volatility and unpredictability, but may be a great asset for the future. It is becoming more and more popular, so having some for the future can be a good way to increase your wealth. There are different assets beside these ones, but these are my favorite. Before you start buying assets, let me share 3 golden rules. First, when investing, diversification is key. Let's consider an example where you invested all your money in Bitcoin, the most famous cryptocurrency. This may not go well, because Bitcoin may be the biggest now, but if for some reason it loses interest, you will take a big hit. How to avoid this would be to select different crypto that also have a good potential and have your investment money shared among them. This way, even if one of them goes down for some reason, the others may hold or even rise. But what if cryptos start going down because Elon Musk decided to tweet about it? Your entire investment will go down. Maybe not forever, but for a while. A good way to protect yourself could be if a third of your investment was in gold, other third in stocks, and the last third in crypto. This way, cryptos may go down, but stocks and gold may be looking good and bring your investments up. Always diversify and avoid placing too much money in higher risk assets. The same is true for stocks. Avoid investing in only one company. Diversify. And one of the safest ways of investment in stocks is the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is basically a way to invest in the best 500 companies in the American market. This way, you are not vulnerable to one or another going down, but relying on the overall market that in its history has an average growth of 10% a year. The second golden rule is to invest regularly. It is safer to invest $1,000 a month than $12,000 at the same time. This is because prices go up and down all the time, and by buying regularly regarding the price, you make sure to have an average price. You will not only become more comfortable when the prices go down, because you prefer to buy low, but you will also be confident that quickly you will be having profit again. The last golden rule is to invest only what you don't need. You should always have an emergency fund with at least 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses. If you want to have a big purchase, for example a car or a house, you should also not invest that money. Other than that, put aside a slice of your income to invest regularly in a group of assets you feel comfortable. If you have money saved already and want to invest part of it, split it into 24 months, don't invest all at once. When investing, we want to create profit and wealth in the long run, and we should not worry if prices go down and we are losing money in the short run. You only lose if you sell. So, invest regularly, diversify and hold. Take that, inflation! Check out my next video where I share 5 principles I'm following to become rich. Thank you for watching, see you on the next video. You probably have a nice job and you can save some money every month. You also invest in cryptos and stocks, but you end up losing more than you actually profit. Which begs the question, is there a way to become rich without winning the lottery? The answer is yes. The 5 principles you will learn won't make you rich overnight, but if you follow them consistently, your chances of success are high. So, let's get started. Number 1. Spend less than you earn. Let's be real, we all have a certain way of living that we enjoy. So, which sacrifices should we make, where should we spend and where should we save? A good way to answer these questions is to monthly write down your expenses in a spreadsheet or an app dedicated to that. It takes some time, but I promise you it will be worth it. Go through every single expense and head them by detailed categories like groceries, eating out, gas, insurance, clothes. That's a few examples of what I use. You should also add how much you earn each month. This way it is easier to see if you are spending more than you earn and where are you spending more. It is up to you where you can save, just remember that a small sacrifice today can mean a huge benefit tomorrow. Imagine you decide to eat out less frequently, saving $20 per month. These $20 can mean $370 in 30 years if you invest them, as you will see later in the video. So imagine if you could save $20 every month. That can mean thousands of dollars on your wallet later. Bottom line, you will get richer quickly depending on how much you can save. Or you can enjoy life as it is. That's totally fine and is entirely up to you. Final note on the topic, and I hope this is not news to you, but you should be careful if you take credit debt. When we ask for a credit, for example to buy a car, we are borrowing money from the future that we didn't earn yet. But that has a cost and usually means we are paying the original price plus an additional cost. With the exception of a house, I would avoid credits at all costs. Save first, spend later. Number 2. Invest in you. We want to save money to then invest it cleverly, and one of the best investments is in ourselves. Learning is key if you want to be promoted or change careers. There is a lot of good and free content out there, so you should always take advantage of that. But sometimes there are more efficient ways to learn. Books are usually worth spending as they are commonly cheap and provide in-depth knowledge in a specific topic. Look for good recommendations in your sector to leverage your career or explore new ones. Taking a course or a certification can also be a game changer to open new job opportunities. I have done that in the past, and although I started my new job earning less than before, after a couple of years I was earning much more. Sometimes you need to do a step back to then do 2 steps forward. Bottom line, don't be afraid to invest in yourself if it will make you happier, because you will be doing something you love, but also opening new doors that hopefully will increase your monthly income. Number 3. Compound investing. Do you prefer to double your investment in 1 year or to have it multiplied by 10 in 30 years? If you chose the second option, you already have the right mindset. But you chose the first one, didn't you? We all love quick and easy money. And why shouldn't we? I would rather have money now than in 30 years. But quick and easy money frequently comes hand in hand with high risk. Either you can double it or you can get it cut in half. And if we want to become rich, we want to avoid risk while maximizing our profits. Imagine every month after you receive your paycheck, you put $50 aside. After 10 years, you will have $6,000 saved. That's a good saving amount, but that doesn't make you rich. What if there was a way to invest these $50 every month, to get some return from it, even if small? You went to your bank and you got a deal of 1% return a year. So, you make your calculations, and with 1% a year, investing $50 every month for 10 years, you got in the end $6,300. Only $300 profit, not that great, but better than before. You then hear your friends talking about the SP 500. In a short explanation, the SP 500 is an index fund that allows you to purchase a little bit of the best 500 companies in the American market. You researched about it and found out that the SP 500 has an average return of almost 10% a year. This doesn't mean that the portfolio grows 10% a year, because some years it may drop and others it might rise, but if you hold long enough, you will get a returning rate around 10% a year. So you calculate again to find out that your 6,000 investment can potentially be worth 10,000 in 10 years. You got curious to see how much could you have in 30 years by the time you retire. And for your surprise, you discover that you can end up with $100,000 over the 30 years. This is the power of the compound investment. It is like a snowball. It starts small and grows small, but after many, many years it grows and grows and grows. Another example, if you invest $500 every month for 30 years, you can end up with $1 million. That's right. It is still risky though. When we invest, there is always risk. But by investing in an index fund like the S&P 500, we are not betting in a company. We are betting in a market that in its existence has always grown after a while. Also, by continuously buying, we are making sure to have an average cost price. When the market goes down, we buy. When the market goes up, we buy, making us safer and not needing to look for the best times to invest. Because if you try to anticipate if the market goes up or down, you are increasing the risk. But by investing regularly, you distribute that risk, relying on the growth of the market and not on ups and downs. When compound investing, we should aim for the long run. The longer we wait, the biggest the possibilities of success and return are. When investing, I always follow these 3 principles. Buy consistently regardless of the price. Hold on to it, the longer the better are your chances of having good profit. And finally, only invest money that you don't need. Let's not become rich by chance, let's make sure it will be a reality. Number 4. Avoid risky games. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Have you ever heard this saying? If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. This is one of the most important rules when investing. Nowadays, with thousands of new cryptocurrencies, crypto games, NFTs, and God knows what else will come, everyone seems to be looking for the next gold mine. I have also fallen into this trap a few times, and the results were always the same: bad investments. Just like in a casino or online betting, you can have some luck and make some money, but in the long run, you will lose. If you really want to be rich, you should avoid these money traps at all costs, because we want to maximize our chances of getting rich. And if you are investing in risky games, you are diminishing those odds. I'm not saying you should not invest in crypto, but you should have a diversified portfolio with the most solid ones and follow the same 2 principles of compound investment. Buy frequently and hold. Number 5. Career development. Last but not least, we should focus on our career development to increase our monthly income. In the past, a professional stayed in the same career, sometimes in the same company, for a lifetime. This is no longer true. The world is constantly changing, and so should we. So, my question to you is, how can you be promoted? Take advantage of what you learn and possible courses to make you a better professional and get a promotion. If you don't enjoy your job so much, or you see that there is no easy way to get promoted, have you considered changing careers? When searching for a different job, think on these 3 questions. Would you love it? Would you be good at it? And would you be well paid? It is important to not settle and always be eager to learn and to improve. That's key to keep that monthly income rising. You are now equipped with solid principles to become rich. By increasing your monthly income, by saving as much as you can, by investing in the right places, and by avoiding money traps. A good way to get better at work is to work smarter instead of harder. Thank you for watching, see you on the next video.